Hey, what is going on, everybody? It's the Short Sports Show. I'm your host, Daniel Short. Today is Monday, July 7th, 2014. Sorry for the break last week. Had some things had to do. Got a new job, so the interview process and all the other boring stuff. So I had to miss last week's show. And honestly, last week, there were a few things that happened, but really this week, not a whole lot of things happened. So it was really good. Now we have, small things here and there. Actually, they're major things, but all combined into one. It's just one epic show, basically, is what I'm getting to. Anyways, today's show, we're going to talk about where LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony, where are they going? All these rumors, speculating, we'll clear it out for you on today's show. And also, NFL training camp starts in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Are you ready? I'm pumped. I am pumped. We've gone 22 Sundays now without football, and we only got 8 more to go. Only 8 more. So first, we'll talk about some college football news, and pretty crazy here. I don't know why I said it about 3 times, but hey, here we go. Ex-Florida and New England Patriots tight end Aaron Hernandez, who was in jail while awaiting trial in the killings of 3 men, is Mr. July in the Florida Gators 2014 sports calendar and is featured in a Patriots calendar produced by the same company. The University of Florida said last Tuesday that officials approved the publication months before he was charged with murder, and the Patriots said they will not comment on the matters involving Hernandez. But Florida was, upset about what the calendar did, saying that it was not produced by the university, but a third party. And since it's already been printed and distributed for sale, there's not much the school could do. And so the school advised the calendar makers that Florida no longer approves the product, but that those already printed will not be recalled. So I guess it's just stopping. Whatever out there is out there. So probably eBay, you could go buy one for probably a good amount of money if you have one of these. But you got to think, even though this was before, but when you found out all this was happening, why continue to go with it and not just say, okay, you know what? It's not going to hurt just to take one player off on 1 month and switch it with something else. If you want to just put a simple thing as the statue of a Florida Gator, or the stadium, the way it's shaped or something. I don't know, anything. You could think of anything. Maybe uniforms or something for Florida. And the Patriots, get, one of those mascots, they shoot the guns in the air and all the smoke. Get something like that. Just an easy picture you can just swap. It's not that hard just to swap it because you didn't print it, that long ago. So I'm just saying, I think it's weird by the calendar makers not to have thought, hey, maybe we shouldn't sell this. Let's just wait a little bit, swap out the picture, and go from there. But anyways, the calendars are still available for sale. So if anybody wants to go buy one, it's at Target.com. Literally, yes, the real Target. And featured tight end number 81 in a Gators white jersey and blue pants with the orange stripe, carrying the football under his right arm, almost looking like he's in the looking at the camera. Shows his height, weight, his hometown. Doesn't say that he was a convicted, murderer or anything. Also, in the Patriots calendar, Hernandez is holding the ball in his red-gloved hands and wearing a dark blue jersey, silver pants, and high socks. Why I went into detail about it, I don't know. I'm sure you guys can go look it up on Google Images. But anyways, that's just, interesting. Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, Florida State quarterback, Jameis Winston has purchased a $10 million disability and loss of value insurance policy. The $10 million policy is equally split between a permanent disability policy, which he would collect if he were injured and could never play again, and a lost value policy, which he could collect at least a percentage of it if he fell in the draft. The policy was first reported by Yahoo Sports and is based on a projection that he will be a top 10 pick in the 2015 NFL Draft and will pay out if he fell out of the first round because of injury or illness and all the other good stuff. But the crazy part about this, about him getting this $10 million insurance policy is that 2 weeks ago, Jameis Winston's father told AL.com that his family expects his son, expects Jameis to play 2 more seasons with Florida State. So I'm assuming that the insurance applies to those 2 years as well, or what? Excuse me. Because if the policy is just based on a projection that he will be a top 10 pick in the 2015 NFL draft, and he went and knew that that's what it was for, does that mean he's already saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to enter the draft this year, or after this upcoming year? Because would it really make sense to buy this policy or whatever and end up playing 2 more years or something like that? I don't know. I think the signs are pointing that Jameis Winston has his eyes set on the 2015 NFL draft after this season. But we'll see. The Ohio State Buckeyes gained 2 commitments from 5-star prospects Justin Hillard and Jayshon. I didn't mess up right there. Jayshon Cornell last Wednesday. Hillard is a number 13 prospect and is the number 1 linebacker in the 2015 class. This is the second straight year that Ohio State has got the number 1 linebacker in back-to-back classes. Cornell is the 16th overall prospect and is the number 5 defensive end in this year's class as well. Now, with these commitments, the Buckeyes move up 17 spots and to the number 6 ESPN rankings. Ohio State has now a total of 12 commitments in the 2015 class, including now 4 ESPN top 300 players. And, man, it's awesome. Now, and also, I was reading, Ohio State's trying to get the number 1 running back in the 2015 class. And guess who he's committed to? Who else, right? Michigan, of course, your biggest rivalry. And you know what? Hey, you're committed there. Let's bring you on over. Let me show you something over here. And wouldn't that be huge of Ohio State? Not only because you get the number 1 running back in the 2015 class, but you just stole him from your main rival. So that'd be a good way to just shake up this offseason that's almost over with. It's almost over with, especially for college football. It's almost done. Boise State has settled a lawsuit with the American Athletic Conference, the AAC, that was first filed a year ago, claiming the university owed $5 million in exit fees. The university announced Thursday that all claims have been dismissed, and it has agreed to pay a negotiated exit fee of $2.3 million. The lawsuit was first filed after Boise State backed out of joining the Big East Conference. Hint, hint, that's the American Athletic Conference in 2012. Everybody was going to the Big East. TCU was going, Boise State. They had San Diego State going, which doesn't make any sense that they were going to go all the way over there. I'm sure there's other schools I'm missing here. And then when they found out other teams were going to the ACC and Rutgers was going to the Big Ten, everybody's like, okay, this thing is about to crumble. We got to back out quickly. Thankfully, TCU was able to go to the Big 12. And Boise State, well, they didn't really find any huge step up or anything. Which, honestly, Pac-12, I understand you got a really good thing going. Why not Boise State and BYU? Tell me that doesn't make sense anywhere. That makes complete sense to me. Boise State, bring in one of the greatest schools that have been in the 2000s era. They kind of fell off a little bit, but, they're gaining their confidence back. They should be pretty solid this year. Bring them into the Pac-12. That'd be interesting to see. I mean, geographically, it makes the most sense to go anywhere. And then BYU, I mean, you already have Utah in the Pac-12. That adds the Utah-BYU rivalry a little bit more. Kabam. I'm just a genius. Or maybe the conference commissioners are just dumb. I don't know. You have more schools, you make more money. You're not really spending any money. At least I don't see where you're spending money at. Why schools don't expand. It's beyond me. It's beyond me. But the biggest news over the week for college football has been wide receiver Dorial Green-Beckham, who was dismissed by Missouri in April after several off-the-field incidents, has now transferred to Oklahoma to play with the Sooners. He cannot play this season, but will be eligible for the Sooners in 2015. Green-Beckham had a breakout season for the Missouri Tigers in 2013 with 59 catches, 883 yards, and 12 touchdowns as a sophomore in the SEC. A source said Green-Beckham signed with the Sooners on last Wednesday and was essentially going through an orientation process on Thursday in preparation for Oklahoma's July summer school session, which begins this week. DGB, that's what I'm saying from now on because his name is like extremely long, is exploring if there's any way he can get a waiver from the NCAA to play this season, and the source told ESPN's Joe Schad. So, ESPN's Joe Schad knows a lot about college football, so if this is legit, it's reported, not saying it's going to happen, but at least they're, Green-Beckham's looking at this like, please let me play, because apparently Oklahoma's waiver to the NCAA on behalf of Green-Beckham, DGB, will be based on an NCAA, quote, runoff rule. Using this rule, former LSU point guard Anthony Hickey became immediately eligible to play for Oklahoma State after being dismissed by LSU. So he could use that to go ahead and play, but he's had so many off-the-field issues that they might just say, you know what, we're going to just force you to sit out. I mean, because the NCAA, that's by rule, you have to sit out once you transfer, unless, well, it's not really a transfer, I guess. Yeah, it still would be a transfer. But anyways, supposed to sit out unless, certain situations. But Bob Stoops, head coach for the Oklahoma Sooners, is watching DGB very closely as admission to Oklahoma came with specific stipulations, including continued rehabilitation, I cannot speak, and drug testing. Green-Beckham will also be subject to a, quote, zero-tolerance policy, which includes any failed drug test, and you are gone. That's it. No more. He's failed so many, or I don't know how many he's failed. I can't say that. I was thinking of Josh Gordon, which we'll talk about later. Anyways, zero tolerance, that's it. One strike, there's no 1, 2, 3, and then you're gone. It's one, bam, you're out. You didn't learn, you're gone. For him to go to Oklahoma is huge. Anyways, and part of his recruiting process when he was in high school, Oklahoma was like his second school. He made multiple visits to Oklahoma, but eventually obviously committed to Missouri. But anyways, Green-Beckham said in a statement issued by the university saying, quote, I appreciate this opportunity from Coach Stoops and the University of Oklahoma. There are people here who will help me build a strong foundation. I've disappointed myself and others in the past, and I know that I have a lot of work to do, and I am ready to get started. And then Sooners head coach Bob Stoops said this, quote, we are pleased to welcome Dorial to the University of Oklahoma, where he is excited to continue his education and resume his playing career. Dorial understands the privilege and responsibilities of representing the Oklahoma football program. He is a talented young man who is eager to get to work with the rest of our team in the classroom and on the field. So it's going to be very exciting once Green-Beckham does play. If it's this year, it'd be really awesome to watch them play. Trevor Knight, after his breakout performance against Alabama in the Sugar Bowl, was amazing. And Sterling Shepard, I believe, is one of the best wide receivers in college football. And having Dorial Green-Beckham 6'6", if he still has that, I'm sure he still has his playing ability out there, just top notch. Having him on the other side of Sterling Shepard is going to be crazy for opposing teams. Sadly, that includes my TCU Horned Frogs. But if he does play this year, that'll be huge. If not, next year, Oklahoma, they're still going to be all right with them. But this is, I believe for DGB, this is a really good spot for him. Oklahoma, I think with Bob Stoops being one of the best college football coaches there's been, he'll guide him. He'll make sure he's all right. And I think it's the best fit for him. Obviously, DGB is comfortable there. Like I said, he was during his recruiting process. That was his second school. He made multiple visits. He's familiar with the area, and now being there, it's going to be a really good spot for him. And what the Sooners can do on the field with him could be one of the best offenses we could watch. But that's it for college football. Now we will move on to the NFL and more problems. Well, actually, not really a problem now. Aldon Smith will not face misdemeanor charges from an arrest for allegedly making a fake bomb threat at LAX in April. The star San Francisco 49ers linebacker, however, will have a July 30th hearing to address the situation. And although this matter basically is, over with, Smith's legal issues are not. He will be sentenced July 25th for pleading no contest to 3 felony gun charges and could face jail time. The NFL could also suspend him. So, drum roll, that was pretty bad. Will Aldon Smith play this season for the 49ers? That's a huge question. It's a huge question because facing jail time, obviously, it doesn't matter if the NFL suspends you or not. You're in jail. And if they do suspend you and you don't get any jail time, well, you'll miss a few games. I think if he doesn't get any jail time and the NFL does suspend him, which I believe there will be a suspension for him, you're looking at 2 to 4 games. I don't really see a 6 or 8. I think that's just, a little too much. I mean, I know it was 3 felony gun charges, but I'm just saying I don't think they would suspend him for that much. It wasn't like he failed a drug test, which I'm sure he's done before, I think I've heard. So, with all that, no jail time, you're looking at 2 to 4 games, I think. I think he still plays this season. Actually, I know he will still play this season if there's no jail time. If there's jail time, I'm not going to predict how long he's going to be out, but I'm pretty sure it'll be more than 6 or 8 games. What do you guys think? Do you think Aldon Smith will play for the 49ers this season? They did get his... they picked up his option, so he's good for next season. It doesn't mean they still can't cut him, but anyways. Another Cowboy mistake, or could it be a treasure? The Dallas Cowboys completed a trade with the Baltimore Ravens last Tuesday to acquire linebacker Rolando McClain, who will come out of retirement. Now, we talked about him before when he's a Brett Favre, basically, just on the defense side. Retired, unretired, tried out with the Ravens. They have his rights and whatnot, and then said, hey, even though he failed, he wasn't even going to make the team anyways. He was like, I'm just going to retire football. I don't have the passion for. Actually, I have the quote here. He says, I got to follow my heart. It ain't football. If football made me complete, I would play. But whenever I think of my heart pulls me away from it for whatever reason, this means I'm done. I know God has something else planned for me, and that my life is bigger than football. That's what he said. He sent text messages to ESPN Magazine. And now that he's traded to the Dallas Cowboys, which the Cowboys traded a 2015 6th-round pick for McClain, and Baltimore's 2015 7th-round pick goes back to Dallas. Anyways, McClain was officially reinstated from the reserve/retired list Tuesday to make room for his addition. The Cowboys placed the linebacker Sean Lee on injured reserve. We all remember Sean Lee can't stay healthy as he tore his ACL in May and is expected to miss the entire 2014 season. Back to McClain. It's weird. It's got to go back and forth everywhere. McClain retired in April, telling ESPN.com in a text that he had lost his desire to play, which we just spoke about. And it was the second time he had retired. He called it quits in 2013. That was soon after he signed with the Ravens following his release by the Oakland Raiders, who made him the number 8 overall pick in the 2010 draft. But now after the trade happened, McClain's agent told ESPN.com's Todd Archer on Tuesday that the linebacker sounds as excited about football as I've ever heard. So I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the thought of more playing time that he wouldn't really have to, I guess, compete. I mean, he's gonna have to compete, but you think of the Ravens linebackers. It was still after Ray Lewis, but still, there's some good, solid guys that he would have to compete against. And the Cowboys right now, they need anything. They were looking at Jonathan Vilma. They were looking at, who else were they looking at? It slipped past me. He retired. Jonathan Vilma. Someone else. Someone fill it in for me, because y'all know who I'm talking about. Some old guy. Jonathan Vilma. This is going to bug me. Anyways, going to the Cowboys, he's not going to have to compete that much. He's going to compete against a rookie, basically. So maybe he feels more energetic because he has a better chance of starting. But also, maybe it's just, playing in Dallas. Playing for the Cowboys, playing for the star on your helmet. Maybe that just boosts you up. I don't really know. But McClain does have some off-the-field issues, as we all know. He was suspended for 2 games by the Raiders in 2012 after arguing with head coach Dennis Allen, and was also arrested 3 times in just 11 months. So, I don't know if this is a good thing for the Cowboys. I really hope that he becomes a star linebacker. That would be an awesome story to hear and talk about, saying McClain, how he retired twice, basically quitting, thinking he didn't have it in him, was a troublemaker back in the past. But once he was traded to the Dallas Cowboys, something about it just changed him and became, a star linebacker. We all like to hear that, but, I wouldn't be surprised come mid-training camp, he's done. So, at least the Ravens got something out of it. You got a 2015 6th-round pick, so, hey, it's better than not having a player that doesn't want to play, right? Moving on, the Buffalo Bills confirmed Wednesday that linebacker Kiko Alonso suffered a torn ACL in his left knee while working out in Oregon with the Oregon Ducks facility. Very nice, by the way. And will likely miss the 2014 season. It will be a 7 to 9 month recovery. So, what that means for Buffalo is, oh man. I feel so bad, because if you guys look back past episodes, if you've been here that long, I was always talking about the Bills' defense, and even recently when they signed Brandon Spikes from the Patriots, I said it'd be a really good linebacker crew out there because you got Jerry Hughes, TCU product, Brandon Spikes in the middle, and Alonso, but I never knew his name. I always knew number 50, and I would say it's number 50 linebacker. He was really good last season. He was a rookie, blah, blah, blah. I never knew his name. Now I knew his name because of the injury, and it was like, oh, man, this guy was supposed to be a key guy for that defense, and he was supposed to be, but now, because of this injury, it sucks, man. Sean Lee, Alonso now, Kiko Alonso, that's terrible. It's terrible, these ACL injuries. I feel bad for the Bills. I mean, they're already in a tough division with the Patriots, obviously. The Dolphins, who knows how good they can be. The Jets, they're up and down. The Bills need all the help they can get, basically. And the Bills are a really good team. You got Sammy Watkins. Your offense is going to be awesome. But now your defense took a huge loss because this guy was playing like he was a 5 to 6 year veteran as a rookie, and now he's gone. So hopefully he's able to talk to some other people. They drafted Preston Brown, I believe his name. He'll compete with another guy, but huge loss for the Buffalo Bills as they start training camp July 18th. Actually, that's next week. I don't know why I said 2 weeks. That's next week, ladies and gentlemen. I guess if you count this entire week and part of next week, then 2 weeks. Anyways, Kansas City Chiefs offensive lineman, stick with me here, Rokevius Watkins has been suspended without pay for the first 4 games of the season by the NFL for violation of its substance abuse policy. Watkins may participate in training camp and preseason games, but come season, he will be suspended. He was a backup, so if you guys don't know him, it's okay. Colts wide receiver Le'Veon Brazil, I hope I said the last name right, Brazil, has been suspended by the NFL without pay for at least a year for violating the league's substance abuse policy, aka weed. This is the second time he's been suspended. He was banned for the first 4 games of the 2013 season for the same policy, and he even made one of the stupidest quotes I've ever heard. Said it was either money or weed. I know most of you would pick money, and then he said something else that I forgot. It was so stupid about that. Honestly, I don't care who you are. You would rather pick weed than have money. What? Where does that make sense? Where does that make sense? I've never smoked, so maybe that's why. Maybe I don't know. Maybe if I smoked, then I'd be like, okay, I'll choose weed over money. I don't know, but I think that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard, that you'd rather have weed than money. Where does that make sense? Where does that make sense? But anyways, he's had so many problems. The Colts have now had a big off-season problem. Control yourself. Just control yourself. You don't know how many people would switch places with you to make the money that you're making and have the career that you have, but you blow it away because you're smoking weed. Blows my mind. No pun intended by blowing, puff, puff, pass type thing. Anyways, Miami Dolphins defensive end Dion Jordan was suspended 4 games for violating the NFL's policy on performance-enhancing substances. Jordan's first game off suspension will not be until week 6 against the Green Bay Packers, because the Dolphins have a bye in week 5, so that's the reason. Again, same thing. Both of these guys, Levon and Dion and Watkins, can all participate training camp preseason games, but come season week 1, they're out. And finally, Cleveland Browns wide receiver Josh Gordon has made news once again, and it wasn't for saving a puppy or getting a cat out of a tree for a little girl. It was because he was arrested and charged with driving while impaired after speeding down the street in North Carolina. Gordon was taken into custody at Wake County Detention Center after being pulled over for going 50 miles per hour in the 35 mile per hour zone. Gordon's blood alcohol level was a .09, and he admitted to having 3 drinks of vodka. The legal limit in the state of North Carolina is .08. He just barely missed it. I mean, obviously, that's just bad luck on you, man. You're .01 away from being okay. But anyways, what is really going on with Josh Gordon? He's already facing a 1-year suspension for a failed drug test. He was suspended 4 games last season for using codeine, on appeal that was reduced to 2 games not playing and 2 games played without pay. And in early June, Gordon pleaded not guilty to another speeding ticket, as he was stopped for going 74 miles per hour in a 60 mile per hour zone on May 25th and was fined $187, while his passenger was cited for possession of less than 200 grams of marijuana. Josh Gordon, you have the brightest future in football as of right now for any skilled position, because you not only had more yards and touchdowns than Calvin Johnson. That means something. And he just can't stop. And Indianapolis Colts linebacker DeQuell Jackson, who played with Gordon last season, said this on Twitter, quote, "If you're close to Josh Gordon, please help this kid. It's not about football anymore. It's about picking up the pieces in his life." And that's true. I know I just said, he's has all these stats, shows he has one of the greatest potential futures for the NFL, and he keeps blowing it away with all these stupid little mistakes. But now it's really about life, because you think about it, if it was your cousin, your brother, anybody in your family, or a friend, if they failed a drug test, let's say, for applying for a job or something, and then had multiple speeding tickets and all this other things, you would think like, okay, let's talk about it. And then in college, he was kicked off basically at Baylor, and when he transferred to Utah, didn't even play with them, and still failed the drug test at Utah. You honestly think, okay, there's something wrong here. And that's why he wasn't even drafted. He was put in that supplemental draft. So hopefully Josh Gordon can get it together, not only for football, but obviously for his main self, his family, and move on from there. But gosh, Josh Gordon, get it together, bud. Get it together. Moving on to the NBA. Awesome news if you're a Lakers fan. According to multiple sources, the Los Angeles Lakers are front runners to sign Carmelo Anthony. The Lakers have already offered Carmelo a max contract of 4 years, $97 million. And now the Lakers' pitch of teaming Anthony with Kobe Bryant, Pau Gasol, and prize rookie Julius Randle on a team with no long-term salary obligations made one source describe as a, quote, strong impression on Anthony, who is living and training in LA this summer and has made his decision over the holiday weekend, quote, tough. So, I'm hoping Carmelo Anthony signs with my Lakers. That would be amazing to have him next to Kobe Bryant and, like we just said, Julius Randle, Gasol, because Gasol already said if they sign LeBron James or Carmelo Anthony, he's signing with the Lakers just like that, just a snap, and he's there. But also, even better news is this. The Los Angeles Lakers met with LeBron James' agent, Rich Paul, on Friday, and the four-time MVP is giving similar consideration to what the Lakers have to offer. The Lakers made it clear to James they offer him the maximum they could. And speaking of LeBron James, King James, I should say, LeBron is planning to have a face-to-face meeting with Miami Heat president Pat Riley in the next few days. Rich Paul, who's again James' free agent, met in person and over the phone with a handful of teams last week, including the Cavaliers, Lakers, Mavericks, and the Houston Rockets. James is planning to meet with several teams face-to-face this week and is scheduled to be in Las Vegas for a Nike-sponsored basketball camp this week as well. But James' representatives made it very clear to those teams that they are looking for a maximum level contract that would start at approximately $20.7 million. Not total contract, that's per year. At least starting for the 2014 season. So that's a lot. That's a lot of money. When I was reading about Carmelo, they said the Lakers' maximum contract, they could go about $16 million for LeBron and both Carmelo Anthony. So I don't know how that would all work out, but I really hope it does. Having LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Carmelo Anthony, Paul Gasol, and Julius Randle would be the best five you could possibly have on your team right now. I'm not going to get on debate with the freaking Chicago Bulls in their 90s and all the crap, who's better, who would you have one-on-one, blah, blah, blah stuff. I'm not getting into that. I'm just saying right now, that would be the best. So, not a whole lot of news on Dwayne Wade, but obviously huge news on LeBron James. See, that's going to be more than anybody. But even Chris Bosh is getting more news than Dwayne Wade, as the Houston Rockets are really pushing to sign Chris Bosh, saying, quote, they're heavily engaged in trying to convince all-star power forward to leave the Miami Heat in free agency. Bosh is going to wait. He said no matter what, he's waiting to see what LeBron James does and his decision before Bosh makes his decision on where he goes, because Chris Bosh really wants to stay in Miami, but he only wants to stay if LeBron James goes. And wherever LeBron James goes, Bosh is going to want to talk to that team because he really wants to play with them. And that's, when I say play with them, I meant on the basketball court. Let's not take this anywhere else. Because we've all seen those videos on Chris Bosh. We question them sometimes. But anyways, sources say Bosh would expect a 4-year maximum offer of $96 million to leave Miami for Houston or any other team. So that's where he's at. I don't know if he's really worth that much. I know Chris Bosh, honestly, he's a really good player. $96 million though? Oh, I don't know. Maybe over 6 years, not over 4. It's ridiculous. But let's go back to LBJ real quick. And as reported yesterday, on Sunday, the Cavaliers are now the favorites to sign LeBron James. Now, I don't believe this is all the way true. I don't believe it's all the way true. But I think the Cavs have a good shot. But the main thing that hurts Cleveland is that they don't really have that much of a cap. They don't have any cap space to sign James to a huge contract, especially the $20.7 million per year that he's asking for. But then again, that could really not matter for LeBron James because he could take a home discount. So he might say, you know what, I know your situation. I want to play with Kyrie Irving and whatever else they sold him on. I'm going back home. I'll take a bigger pay cut. But, why wouldn't you take a pay cut to play with Kobe, Carmelo, Paul Gasol, and Julius Randle? I don't know. I would. I'd rather do that than play with Kyrie Irving, Anthony Bennett, Varejao, whatever his first name is, and whoever else they got. That's just me. And I really, for you Cleveland people, you have Johnny Manziel. What else? Sorry, don't mean to be rude, but what else is in Cleveland? I would go just because I want to see Johnny Manziel. Johnny Football. And I know we're not really supposed to be talking about football right now, but I don't like how Johnny Manziel partied with Justin Bieber. That's just, I lost so much respect for Johnny Manziel that day. Still do. And it's going to take a lot to regain that. But anyways, back to LeBron James. Sorry, getting off topic here. Where was I? I think I just finished it, actually. Yeah, anyways, my last thing was, I think the chances of LeBron James signing with the Miami Heat are much stronger than him going back to the Cavaliers. Sorry for any possible reunions, but I wouldn't bet on it. That's it for basketball. Our last thing to talk about is the Major League Baseball All Star Game, which is at Target Field in Minneapolis, Minnesota, one of my favorite baseball stadiums. It starts Sunday, July 13th, this upcoming Sunday, with the All-Star Futures game sponsored by Sirius XM. Then Monday we have the Home Run Derby sponsored by Gillette, which is my favorite thing to watch. And then Tuesday concludes it with the 85th All-Star Game, 7 o'clock Central on ESPN. It's going to be awesome. But here's your American League All-Star roster in case you didn't catch it. It is starting with catcher. Actually, Matt Wieters was voted. But this doesn't make any sense. This is why some All-Star games, when they're voted by fans, it should be like a very small percentage. Because they voted for Matt Wieters, who's a catcher for the Baltimore Orioles. Thing is, he's out all season, so I don't think he can really play. So they gave it to Salvador Perez for the Kansas City Royals, who will start at catcher. Miguel Cabrera will be at first base, the Detroit Tigers. Robinson Cano for the Seattle Mariners will be at second. Josh Donaldson, thankfully he made it, one of my favorite third basemen, thanks mainly because of fantasy baseball. For the Oakland A's will play third base. Derek Jeter will be in his last All-Star game. Starting at shortstop, Jose Bautista in outfield, Mike Trout, Adam Jones, both in the outfield, and Nelson Cruz, coming back from a suspension from last season, will be starting at DH. Let's see, your pitchers are Mark Burley, Yu Darvish, Sean Doolittle, Felix Hernandez, Greg Holland, Scott Kazmir, John Lester, Glenn Perkins, Matt Scherzer, David Price, who I'm hoping gets traded to the Dodgers, and Masahiro Tanaka, the Yankees' big pitcher. Yeah, he made it too. I don't know how to say his first name, but he's really good. He's really good. He surprised me. I didn't think he was going to be that good. But yeah, he's dominant. Again, your catchers. This will go in depth by roster, and your reserves here are Derek Norris, Kurt Suzuki, and Matt Wieters was elected as starter, but is injured, so he can't play. So he'll still be there though. Infielders: Jose Abreu, first baseman, Chicago White Sox rookie. Jose Altuve, second baseman. Andre Beltran. I don't know why I said his name all weird. We all know who he is. Third baseman, Texas Rangers. Edwin Encarnacion, first baseman, Blue Jays, Brandon Moss, first baseman, and Alexei Ramirez for the Chicago White Sox. I like that Chicago White Sox announcer. Oh, man, he's my favorite. Let's see, outfielders, Michael Brantley, Yoes Cespedes for the Oakland A's, Alex Gordon, and Victor Martinez will be DH. Now moving on, last thing, the NL All Star roster starters for the National League. Yadier, oh, that's embarrassing. Yadier Molina was a catcher for the St. Louis Cardinals. Paul Goldschmidt made it, who is a Texas State alum. Chase Utley, second baseman. Ramirez, yeah, third baseman. Milwaukee Brewers. Troy Tulowitzki, wow, I can't speak today. Tulowitzki, yeah. Well, y'all guys know what I'm talking about. Shortstop, Colorado Rockies. Andrew McCutcheon, Carlos Gomez, and Yasiel Puig from my Los Angeles Dodgers has finally made it. Should have made it last year. Well, actually, no, he got called up late, didn't he? Either way, that's awesome that he's there representing the Dodgers. Pitchers will be Madison Bumgarner, Johnny Cueto, Aroldis Chapman, Zach Greinke, another Dodgers, Clayton Kershaw, another Dodgers, Craig Kimbrell, Francisco Rodriguez. What a way he's bounced back. Tyson Ross, Adam Wainwright, Tony Watson, and Jordan Zimmerman finish out for the NL pitchers. Reserves will be catchers Jonathan Lucroy and Devin Masakoro. Wow, these are weird names. Infielders, Matt Carpenter, TCU alum, awesome. Third baseman, Starlin Castro, shortstop for the Cubs. Todd Frazier, third baseman. Freddie Freeman, D. Gordon. What a way to bounce back after a lot of people counted him out. I even counted him out for the Dodgers, but he's bounced back, had a really breakout season this year so far. And Daniel Murphy. Outfielders will be Charlie Blackmon, Josh Harrison, Hunter Pence, and Giancarlo Stanton, of course. That'll be it for today's show. We will talk next week, next Monday morning. Obviously we'll talk about the All Star Game leading up to that. Hopefully we'll hear a decision on Carmelo Anthony and LeBron James. Where will they be? LeBron actually might be a little bit later, but hopefully Carmelo Anthony, we hear him pretty soon. And hopefully the best news will be in LA. But other than that, guys, I will see you guys next Monday morning. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at @short_sports 24/7. Also become a fan on Facebook, The Short Sports Show. The links are in the description. If you're listening on iHeartRadio, Spreaker.com, or YouTube, make sure you leave a like and share it to your friends and all that other good stuff. I will be back next Monday, guys. I'm out. God first. God bless. Peace.